What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Mikali Pennigan here back with Time Out with Mikali. I told y'all I was going to continue on doing these little weekly updates. First week of the NFL season just happened. NFL Week 1 happened. We had the Packers and 49ers playing later tonight. And we also had college football over the weekend. Two big games. Texas and Michigan. Texas absolutely bludgeoned the Wolverines at home in the big house. A statement win by Texas. And obviously Nebraska and Colorado. We'll give some thoughts on that. And then week 1 also happened. But first, before I even talk about the NFL, I want to give my rant on Colorado. Colorado football, led by Deion Sanders, has been absolutely, it has just been utterly disappointing so far from Colorado. I mean, look, maybe this is the rebuild process and whatnot, but this team doesn't look any sort of improvements, anything different from the team that we had last year. They still have the same problems. Offensive line, they can't block. Pass protection is awful. They can't run the ball. I mean, at halftime, they had negative 27 rushing yards against Nebraska. Nebraska's defensive line absolutely had their way against Colorado. I mean, it was like manhandling their offensive line. Shador had an awful interception, and he was trying to blame it on the freshman receiver like he ran the wrong route. Shador threw it opposite side of the field on the 1 yard line, and he threw the ball inside of the receiver on a hitch route, which means he's running 5-6 yards and he's stopping. Instead of throwing it on the outside, he threw it on the inside. Pick said it's going the other way. That's not what we're talking about, right? Not only that, their defense can't stop a soul. Their run defense is terrible. The defensive line is not very good. And pass defense, I mean, I thought their pass defense wasn't that bad, but they just can't stop anybody on the run. So if Deion Sanders wants to succeed and build Colorado into a great program, he needs to change his philosophy with getting players to come to his school. Like the past 2 years, Colorado they're the only team to have the only team that had that many transfers come into their program. They're number 1 in bringing in transfers this year. Deion doesn't really recruit from high school players. He wants transfers, like the ones that can help him to win now. The problem with that is that these transfers they're not producing. They're either being coached the wrong way, they're not that good, and it's just been so mesmerizing. So what you see from these other Power 5 schools is, look, they recruit in the high school ranks. They go through get the high school players, and they add a few transfers that will help them win now. But when you get the high school players, it allows you to develop these guys and become really good for your program, but then gain the transfers to help you win now. See, the problem is with Deion, he doesn't get a lot of high school players. He made a few, but it's not a lot. What Deion needs to do, if he really wants his program to succeed, he needs to start recruiting through high school players. Getting high school, I'm sure, even with his name and his legendary status as an NFL player, I'm sure he can do it. Getting high school players, recruit them, and then add a few transfers that can help you win in the season that you're having, to help you succeed in the season that you're having. Because this whole nonsense in getting all these transfers, dumping 40 players and adding 40 players in, it's just not working. It's not working. It's just not working. Another issue that I have with Colorado is their coaching staff. Deion's coaching staff is completely unreliable. These guys are not good. It's not a good coaching staff. I mean, Pat Shurmur, yeah, he has NFL success, I, I'm not even gonna blame the offensive play calling. Like, I think it's been fine. I actually think it's not even that. It's just this position group, guys. Like, the defensive coordinator is not good. The coaching staff, the players look so unprepared, so undisciplined. Holdings, um, guys missing tackles, this, that, and the other. I mean, Trevor Woods, the Mike linebacker, went with the crown of his helmet. You can't do that in a college football game. That's 101. Gets ejected right before halftime. Can't play in the second half. I mean, they're just completely undisciplined, unprepared. Even last week, when they played in FCS school, they were down when FCS, that North Dakota State, threw a Hail Mary. They're trying to intercept the ball. Why are you trying to intercept the ball? Knock it down. See, that's the level of just like they're not prepared well. I think Deion just completely just lied to everybody. Let's just call it how it is. He just didn't tell the truth about the position groups getting better. It's just not. The offensive line still looks bad. They still can't run the ball. They still can't defend the run. And look, I think what the problem with Deion is, he's all about the flash. Look, I got my two sons. I got Travis Hunter, who can play both sides of the ball. The skill position, the receivers, the skill position guys, the corners. Yeah, it's nice. And I'm also getting a bunch of these big name celebrities to come out to the game, getting these rappers to walk out with them. It's cool and all, but you're not doing the little things right. Like, everyone knows, in order to have a successful football team, you need to have one line of scrimmage, offensive line. Deion Sanders is starting to realize at the big stage of football and coaching, you need an offensive line to be successful. You need to have a defensive line to be successful, to get the pressure to the quarterback. Because Dylan Raiola he was just sitting in the pocket. Dude was just sitting in the pocket all game, no pressure. You need to be able to win with the offensive line. You need to be able to win with the defensive line. That's why teams like Michigan, when Jim Harbaugh was coaching, that line of scrimmage was filthy. They got to the quarterback, and their offensive line and the running game they were deadly. Also, Georgia, look at their offensive line. Look at their defensive line. Alabama, Ohio State, all these, Texas, they prioritize. They're really good at the line of scrimmage. That's why they win. But seems Deion was just thinking like, oh, let me focus on the skill positions and the offensive line. They'll come. No, that's not how you win. That's not how you win. If he seriously wants to continue coaching at this level, he needs to change his philosophy. Because what he's doing right now is just not working. And my also other problem, Shedeur Sanders. If you want to succeed, like, I think he's going to be a first-round draft pick next year. Guarantee he's going to be a first-round draft pick. But if you want to succeed at the next level, he needs to work on his leadership. His leadership skills are terrible. Like, I think like you having your own song and all that, and the flashing your watch, and doing this and that. Yeah, it's cool. It's nice getting all that NIL money. Yeah, it's cool. But going in a press conference and blaming your offensive line and throwing your offensive line under the bus, a franchise quarterback at the NFL, they don't do that. They don't blame other people when the game goes wrong. They look like, oh, yeah, I take full responsibility. We didn't have it today. We'll look at the film and get ready for next week. Like, why are you throwing your players under the bus? Why are you doing that? Like, you need to, like, humble yourself. Be a team player. Stop throwing your players under the bus. Like, if he wants to succeed, because I think he's talented, he needs to have leadership quality. He needs to be better at being a leader. Because that is not what a leader does. You don't ever see Patrick Mahomes throwing his guys under the bus in a press after a game. Even all last year, when his receivers were dropping passes, dropping game-winning catches, touchdowns, he didn't blame his receivers. He didn't say, yeah, they just can't catch the ball. Not my problem. Catch the ball. Mahomes didn't do that. He needs to work on his leadership qualities. This is where it is. And my question also, like, what's gonna happen when Deion doesn't have his sons anymore, or Travis Hunter? Like, what's gonna happen? Like, he really needs to start looking at himself in the mirror. Like, I gotta change my philosophy, because I only really have 3-4 special players on this team. Other than that, after next year when they're gone, they're in for a rude awakening.